Hey guys, so I'm here in my garage again, and I wanted to make some arguments for some at-home equipment. I know it's kind of a weird time. You guys don't want to be going out of stores, but maybe you can order one if you don't already have one. But the argument I'm going to make is buying yourself a kettlebell at home, because one of the things you guys are going to struggle with over this time being in your house is actually getting some resistance-based training. Especially if some of you guys have been getting a little bit stronger with your training already, it's going to be hard to do things with your body weight to progress you in a way that weights can. So a good way to do it in an efficient way and a cheap way to get some at-home equipment is just buy yourself a kettlebell. The weights can vary. If you've been working with me, you kind of already know what weights you use for swings and deadlifts, but that's what I'm going to suggest buying, because we're going to go over the swing today again in some detail for people, so in case they want to go purchase one themselves. But yeah, it's going to be a beneficial tool, because you can get strength with it, you can get power with it, you can get endurance with them. So it can host a lot of different qualities that we want in our training in one tool. That's why I use it pretty frequently with people. So this is what we're gonna make an argument to go get yourself a kettlebell here. So what we're gonna go over is the deadlifting motion. And before you buy a kettlebell, right, you want to make sure you can hinge or deadlift properly, because all the kettlebell movements are what I call sexy movements, or what I call just like the movements that bring a lot of good qualities in. They all stem from like a hinging position, this deadlifting mechanic position, right? So being able to push your hips back. So if you can do that effectively, then this tool is going to be a really good buy for you guys, because it'll probably, honestly, outlive you. It's freaking cast iron, for God's sake. So it's hard to beat up, and again, you're not going to need to put maintenance on it or anything. So it's a great tool to buy. So what you're going to do first, so we're going to try to set you up for good deadlifting mechanics if you don't already know what you're doing here, because I want to make sure you guys are comfortable and you guys can get some coaching cues to try to get some feedback to yourself, so that way you can set yourself up for success while using a kettlebell. So what you do first is, get your hands towards your hips, right? And I cue my brain. This tells my brain that, hey, butt's going to push back, right? So if I just karate chop my hips before I set up, so that cues my brain to push back into this hinge position, right? This half position here, this half like hinged over position. And this is like good deadlifting mechanics right here, right? Boom, right back up. So I'm going to karate chop my hips, butt goes back stays neutral, and I'm good to go, right? Feeling some tension in my glutes and butt as I push back in my hips. Now what's going to separate this, a lot of people get this a little bit maybe off, is as they go to bend at the knee more, right? So we want to eliminate that. We're not trying to do a squat pattern. This is what separates deadlifting and squatting, is that push back in the hip, right? If you're squatting, you're trying to bend maximally at the knee, right? We're trying to bend maximally at the hip joint. So that's what's going to separate this position. So what you're going to do is get to the top, get to your kettlebell, right? And we're going to test this out a little bit. Is we're going to step right over top, right? Karate chop the hips, push them back towards whatever wall you have behind you, and then get smaller to the kettlebell, right? And then once we get to the kettlebell, we're going to then turn our lats on by screwing in those shoulders, right? And then create some tension on the hips, and then lift up, okay? Hinge those hips back again, lift up again, okay? Great. And the reason why we're going over the swings is one of the most vital exercises I think you can learn, as it teaches you a ballistic action with the hips. And it also requires a ton of force and power. So you get some qualities built that are very important in terms of longevity and just like overall health, all right? To keep those muscles elastic and strong, okay? That's an important quality to have. So now we're going to go over some of the things that when you start swinging the kettlebell, how to get started right away, right? Because a lot of people start a kettlebell swing from a dead start, right? They started up here, which is not correct, right? We don't want to do that. We want to limit that. So to start, right, you have to set up for a hike, okay, what they call the kettlebell hike. And you're going to set that kettlebell up about a couple feet away from you, right? You're going to set up like you're hiking a football through your legs. So you're going to get this kettlebell here, the horn of it, you're going to tilt it over, screw in the lats, and you're going to snap the kettlebell through your waist, or through your hips, here, feeling the tension and the weight of the kettlebell on your hips. So this gives you the momentum then to snap your hips forward for the swing, okay? So it's like sets you up, and if you're starting to feel this in the back already, it's already cueing you in to some problems that you might be having when you start to the kettlebell swing, all right? So now we're going to go ahead and go into the swing, all right? So we're going to hike and swing, all right? So and then we're going to also put it back down. So you're going to hike, swing, decelerate the kettlebell, and then put it back in place, all right? So it's going to look like this. So you're going to hike, back down, okay? Hike. Because it does you no good to learn a kettlebell swing and not know how to properly put it back down to the floor, because it is a dangerous exercise, guys. You have to remember that, right? So now that we're starting to put the puzzles together, right? We started with our hinge practice without kettlebell. Then we started the deadlift with the kettlebell, and we started our hikes with the kettlebell, and then we're going to start our hike to swing to put back down with the kettlebell. Now we're going into that straight ballistic motion of the kettlebell swing, which I love so much, right? So what you're going to do is, again, step back 2 feet from the kettlebell, roughly, tilt that kettlebell back on a little bit back, right? Screw in the lats, hike, snap, snap, snap. All right, creating that ballistic action. And again, it can be used for anything from strength, power, fat loss. I just can't say enough good things about it. It develops your glutes, which are typically a weak spot in humans, and obviously hits your hamstrings and hits the midsection, especially at the top of the swing. When you're at the top of that swing, you should be squeezing hard at your butt, and you should be contracting a little bit at your midsection, so that way you don't extend too far through the movement. Either way, guys, hopefully this gets you excited about, maybe picking up something new to have at your house, and a tool that you can use for the rest of your life. I mean, God, once you get a kettlebell swing, then you can start to do fun movements, right? Cleans, right? Snatches. It all stems from that half-hinge position, right? Right? You got to go back, right? Got to go back. All those movements that you see, it all stems from that hinge position. So I can't say enough about nailing your deadlifts, getting those down, making them really comfortable, almost where they're automatic, and then you can start to progress from there. And I'll send more video out content regarding some other movements in future videos. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it.